As you all know, inside Sonic.EXE Disaster Eclipsed, there is currently 5 EXEs. These being Sonic.EXE, Kolossos, Tails Doll, Nexus, and Lord.EXE. In today's video, we're going to be ranking all 5 of these EXEs from worst to best. Since the 1.4 update happened about a month ago, and since all the balancing changes are basically complete, it's the easiest way to tell which ones you probably want to play, and which ones is best to avoid. Because believe me, there is one you want to avoid. But before we begin, I want to say make sure to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this. But anyways, let's start off with the worst EXE. Coming in 5th place is Lord.EXE, and believe me, almost the entire community agrees on this. Lord.EXE is a trapper counter EXE. 4 main moves and he does 40 damage per hit with pretty alright range and normal knockback. His first move he has is Red Ring. Around the map, as you know, there's almost a red ring, so if you hit them, you do get a bit of a speed boost, but it does around 15 damage to you. Lord.EXE is able to place 7 additional amount of these, so that means, for example, on a map, there could be around 15 to 20 of them. And with these 7 that you place down, he's able to teleport to them, so basically he has global teleport, and if you're too close to one when he teleports, it knocks you back, dealing 15 damage. This means that you have to always be careful of how close a red ring is to you, because he always is able to chip you down slowly over a match. His second ability is Arm Lunge. When he first uses his ability, you have to stand still and charge it up by spamming the A button. Once you do so and you use it again, you're able to lunge out an arm and grab a survivor, dealing around 35 damage. This is one of the only abilities in the game that actually ignores counters or block. For example, if Sonic uses his counter, you're able to still hit them with the ability and will not proc their ability. Then his third ability is Counter. When you use this, you stop moving and you start glowing. And if a survivor hits you, it knocks them back and deals damage to them while also highlighting them. Then his fourth and final ability is Laugh, which, as you know, does absolutely nothing, but it's still an ability. Now this might all sound pretty good, because I mean a trapper killer with around 8 minutes on average of gameplay sounds pretty strong. The issue is that most of the time he gets absolutely obliterated. It might just be because many people are bad with him. Even when I use him, I win most of my matches but still lose a few. It just feels like he doesn't have enough in his kit to actually be good. For example, his ring ability, he's able to basically teleport across the map every 10 seconds. The problem is if you're playing on anything but computer, it's almost impossible to actually deal damage with his ability. And if you do so, like I said, it's only 15 damage, which might sound good for a chipper, but since characters like Cream or Sally are inside of a game, if they block this or straight up just heal them, it does little to nothing since it's only 15. Then his next issue is the fact that you have to make sure that the characters actually hit you or attempt to attack you. Almost guaranteed you have to always be reading the survivors to understand what they're attempting to do or what's happening in the game. Because if they flat out miss you with your ability, you just wasted your counter for nothing. So it also relies on how good the survivors are, because if they're decently well, then you're basically done for. He does 40 damage, which is pretty on point with most other characters, but overall, there's just not enough in his kit to call him good by any means. But with that, Lord.EXE is coming in 5th place for his overall mediocrity. But now, let's go on to 4th place. Now, coming in 4th place is Tails Doll, and I believe some of you might not agree with me here, but let me explain. Tails Doll has 3 main abilities and 2 passives. The first passive we'll explain now, which is the inability to climb up red walls. Around the map when you're playing EXE, you'll always see these red ladder-like things. Almost every single character inside of this game can climb it, except for Tails Doll and one other EXE. Her first ability is Glide. When you use this, you're able to fly around for around 5 seconds, and every second that you do, it increases its cooldown by 1 second. This basically doubles your speed and allows you to gain any height as long as there is an invisible wall in your way. Her second ability is Lunge Slash. What happens is you dash in a direction, and if you hit a survivor, you get caught onto them dealing damage, and you have to spam a button or someone else stuns you for it to stop. And her third ability is Trap. Now this is where the other passive comes in. This is cut or bleed damage. When you're using Tails Doll in the bottom left corner, you can see that some characters have a negative symbol, like for example -20 or -26. What this means is if the EXE hits them, not only will Tails Doll deal her 35 damage, but it'll also deal an additional 26 on top of that. So because of this, how her trap works is it doesn't actually deal real damage, but instead gives that over damage amount. And when she uses her lunge, she does damage slowly, but it also adds to that counter. It's around a 30-second counter, so you basically can't be hit for 30 seconds after using that, or else you'll take insane damage. Because believe me, 61 damage is a lot, especially because if she hits you once, you'll basically be at 4 HP. Now, why is she coming in 4th place? Well, the issue really comes in for a fact that she doesn't really work well with her trap ability. What I mean by this is a lot of times you're able to place down some traps in the game, but they so easily get removed or straight up just ignored that it becomes a little bit of an issue. When using her glider or slash, the hitboxes are a little buggy with her, because what I mean is you could dash forward while using your slash ability and absolutely decimate them, or you literally just stand still and start staring at them like you're giving them a mug face. So she is a little inconsistent with hitboxes, but also the fact that she does really low damage. Yes, the over damage is really nice with her slash passive, but the issue comes in with the fact that many times, as long as the people are competent by any means, you are not getting that ability up pretty often. So yes, tail stall is countered pretty easily, but she is a cut up above Lord.EXE since you're able to catch people off guard a lot easier than him. Because with Lord.EXE, you basically have iframes as a survivor every other second. So because of these reasons, tail stall is coming in 4th place, and we're on to 3rd. Coming in 3rd place is probably the most OG and iconic character from these games, being Sonic.EXE. Now, with these top 3, these 3 could technically be interchangeable for each other because they are so broken compared to the other 2. And let me explain. Sonic.EXE has 3 main abilities and 1 kind of passive-ish. His first ability is invisibility. When he uses this, he turns invisible and it acts as his indicator. By the way, I forgot to mention the other parts. Every character has an indicator, but I feel like that's pretty obvious. With the invisibility, you're able to spawn around 8 clones of yourself, which go towards the nearest survivor. Basically, when you use this, it acts as a way for mobility since you do speed up, but you are unable to hit people. Your next ability is spin dash. Kind of the same thing with mobility, but if you hit a survivor after spamming the A button, you deal around 5 damage per hit. And I recommend just straight up never using this ability. It is completely useless. And his 3rd ability is teleportation. You're able to place down 3 teleports around the map. When you use them, you teleport straight to them, and you're able to do whatever you want there. Now, after hearing these abilities, it sounds like pretty alright. You know, he's able to do some things, but the abilities are not where his main points are at. It comes into his attack. This is where the passive-ish thing really comes in, because Sonic.EXE is the only EXE in the game that can actually hold for a larger attack. What I mean by this is normally when you click attack, you just swing and you hit towards you in a dash. Sonic.EXE allows you to actually hold your attack, so instead of just hitting right away, you're able to time it so they jump over you, or for example they mess up and you're able to hit them. Now that part, and including the fact that he only has a 1-second cooldown when attacking. That's right, basically every other second, you're able to swing another attack at the survivors, and you attack so constantly with 45 damage, he is a nightmare to deal with. Other EXEs have 1.5 seconds, 1.7 seconds, which allows you to dodge, but with Sonic.EXE against a large group of survivors, you just keep swinging and decimating everybody in your path. Although his abilities literally do 0 damage, it does not matter, because you just come around and just start swinging like there's no tomorrow. Now, the reason why I put him to 3rd is, like I said, his abilities don't really do any damage, which isn't his kit. His kit is basically more of mobility, but inside of a game like this, it's a little bit of an issue if you do not know how to play him. If you do know how to play him and you've been playing this game since 2020, believe me, this guy is S tier for you, and I 100% agree with that. But with that, we're going on to 2nd place. Now, 2nd place is personally my main inside of this game, which kind of crazy since I don't really see that many people play him, but it is Nexus, or previously Furnace. Now, Nexus is a really interesting character, because he has 3 abilities and 1 passive. His passive is like tail stall. He is unable to climb the red walls. This means that you need to rely on the map itself or your own ability to climb up them. But that's where all the similarities with every other EXE ends, because let's explain his 3 ability. His first ability is Rush. When you use this, you stop moving for a second, and you start dashing at Mach 10 speeds in a direction you're aiming, and you have a pretty low turn radius. When you hit a survivor, it does 25 base damage and 15 drain over around 1.5 seconds. If a survivor hits you, it stops. His second ability is Ground Smash. When you use this, you go up into the air, and you're able to fly around for around 10-ish seconds. If you're high enough on the map, you're able to use your Y button to slam down on your area, and every person in your radius takes around 35 damage, unless if they jump at the right time. Then his third ability is Overheat. When you use it, you dash in a direction. If you grab a survivor, it does 40 damage to them and 20 damage to everyone else around them. Or if you're stunned, it does 20 damage just to everyone without the additional 40. Now, where this guy gets really good is the fact that this is all happening like every 15 seconds. The whole point of Nexus inside of this game is spam like there's no tomorrow. You're across the map, use your dash, within the first 5 seconds of your match, you're already hitting somebody for 40 damage. Use your glide attack on open maps, for example, like hills. There is almost a 0% chance that they are dashing or dodging you in any way, because you literally just wait in the sky. If there's overheat, you can spam it every single time you're stunned for just 20 damage chip over and over again. This guy is practically what ORANGEHAZING wanted to be. Because of Nexus, he is a really high-paced speed, and although all of his attacks do take a little bit of time to wind up, which means you can't get stunned, most of the time people get too caught off guard that they can't actually respond to your attacks. I'm able to finish matches with 4 minutes left. I think he is a little powerful. But for those reasons, Nexus comes in second place over the others, because unless if he gets a nerf, which I don't really see that he will because of how he's played, he deserves second. Coming in first place is Kolossos, the most broken character to ever come out in the original and every single remake. I don't know why, but many people call this guy terrible, but let me explain his stats, then you talk about it. He has 3 main abilities and 1 passive. This passive basically means that he will not be knocked back as much as others. For example, if he gets hit by Shadow's ult thing, his Chaos Snap, he basically doesn't move at all. The only times he really will move far away is from Metal Sonic's Grapple or something like Blaze's Fireball. His first ability is Charge. You charge in a straight direction. If you hit a survivor, you bring him with you, dealing 25 damage, and if you slam into a wall, dealing additional 10 damage. So 35 in total. His next ability is Block. When you use Block, you hold up your hands, and if someone hits you, it knocks both of you back. But if it's a really fast or strong attack, like a punch or something, you actually deal counter damage around only 10. And if you hit the counter, it only has a 5-second cooldown. Then his third ability, which is the most busted ability in the game, is Grab. If you grab a survivor, you punch him a few times, dealing 15 damage and 5 damage a second. Where this thing is really strong is the fact that unless if a survivor stuns you, you can full kill a person with his ability. Since when you grab them, they cannot move and they cannot use their ability. Now, all of this might sound really good, which it is. He is the slowest EXE as well, which you might have to know. But what's really broken is his attack. If you are living under a rock, every other character, 35, 40, 45 damage. This guy has 65 damage. This means if you use a tackle, even a punch once, and you hit them with your attack, they are dead. Every single character in this game is 2-shot except for Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles, which even then, they have like 65 additional HP, and they are still screwed against him. If you don't pay attention for 1 second, there goes almost all of your HP. Cream's heal doesn't even do anything, because you're around 35 HP. She heals 30 HP. You're still 1-shot to him. Kolossos is the damage machine, and literally, even with lag, even with all of that, he still clean wipes lobbies. The only way that he doesn't is when the lobby mainly uses the abilities of, for example, SBO or Sonic, and just run away for him. Literally, that is your only strategy. If you're not running, you aren't playing against Kolossos, right? And you will be destroyed, decimated, obliterated, eviscerated, all of the above. And aside to the Eclipsed, I just feel like he somehow has a larger hitbox than the original. So you almost are guaranteed to always hit your attacks since your lunge is pretty large. And although it does have a lower cooldown than most, I mean, you're still doing 65 damage. I don't care. But for all those reasons, Kolossos is Kolossos, and that means that he's really broke. If you're a noob at the game, for example, I recommend playing this guy since he is so easy to figure out. You literally don't even have to use your abilities. You just swing, and you can probably kill most of the team. Now, I want you to comment down below what you thought of it. Where would you place characters? Because everyone's opinion is different, but this is overall based off my gameplay and stuff, and I mean, I've played this game for almost the entirety of its existence, so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. But with that was ranking every single EXE inside Sonic.EXE, the Disaster Eclipse. I want to thank you all for watching. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you liked and enjoyed. If I don't catch you in game, then I'll catch you next video.